Hey everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the 2021 Eric's Trains Christmas Bonanza. 8 videos in 8 days, starting on Christmas Day and ending on New Year's Day. So for day 3, we're going to check out a locomotive that I featured in a couple of videos this year, but I haven't actually reviewed it, and that is the new Lionel Camelback locomotive. Hey everybody, I hope you're enjoying this video. I want to interrupt it for one moment to talk about something serious. No, I'm just kidding. It's not serious at all. I want to talk about some giveaways that I'll be doing for the 2021 Christmas Bonanza. So on day 8 of the Bonanza, I'll be doing a live show right here on my YouTube channel. And during that live show, I'll be giving some stuff away. So I'll be giving away some t-shirts, kind of like this, to regular viewers, and I'll be giving some away to my Patreon supporters as well. And then the grand prize will be this animated Menards accessory. This is the M&M's Intergalactic Party Bus animated UFO accessory. It's got the little animated M&M that comes out of the bottom. It's pretty cool. And I will be giving this away to one lucky viewer during the live show. So I'll see everybody on day 8 for the live show. In the meantime, let's get back to this video. Alright, so let's talk about the Camelback locomotive, which in my opinion is one of the strangest looking steam locomotives ever made. Now it gets its name Camelback because the cab straddles the boiler here in the middle, kind of like riding a camel, which is odd, and then the firebox is actually behind the cab back here. So the Camelbacks came into being in the late 1800s, and they were the result of the invention of something called the Wooten firebox, which is back here. Now the Wooten firebox was designed to burn anthracite coal waste. It was the waste product that was produced from the mining of anthracite coal. Anthracite is a harder type of coal. It doesn't burn quite as easily as regular coal. And when you're mining it, you get all this dust and debris and so forth. And so they wanted to find a way to power a locomotive using anthracite waste, because obviously if they could do that, it would be a very cheap source of fuel. Unfortunately, because of the nature of anthracite, you can't just throw this waste product into a regular firebox and burn it. You have to have a specially designed firebox that's very wide, and so that's what the Wooten firebox was all about. But because it was wide, that meant that it could not be ahead of the cab, because if it was, the people in the cab wouldn't be able to see where they were going. And so you end up with what we have here, the Wooten firebox at the back of the locomotive, with the cab up front sort of straddling the boiler. So the design worked, and the Camelbacks were relatively cheap to operate because they ran off that anthracite waste. However, they weren't particularly popular with the crews that operated them, because at best they were very unpleasant, and at worst they were incredibly unsafe. So for starters, because the crew was in a cab that straddled the boiler, it was incredibly hot and uncomfortable inside the cab, but it could also be very dangerous because since the cab was on top of all this running gear, if any of this running gear decided to break off while the engine was at speed, it could potentially fly up and pierce the floor of the cab and then injure or kill anybody in the cab, which apparently did happen. And things weren't much better for the fireman because he was all the way back here with little or no protection from the elements. And on top of all that, communication between the crew members was very difficult. You had one guy here, the other guy was on the other side, and they had a boiler in between them, so communication between these two guys was very difficult. And then you had the fireman all the way back here. But despite all that, the Camelbacks were relatively successful, and some of them remained in service all the way up until the early 1950s. Alright, now let's talk about Lionel's rendition of the Camelback that we have here. So Lionel offered this latest version of the Camelback in their 2021 Volume 1 catalog, and these were delivered earlier this year. I believe it was mid to late summer 2021. They did a whole bunch of different road names. They did DNH, NYO and W, Reading, Strasburg, Long Island Railroad. They did a Halloween version, believe it or not. And then they did 2 Central New Jersey versions. They did the black 774 that we have here, and they also did a really pretty Blue Comet version, which I almost got, but ultimately I decided to get the 774. So I normally don't talk about the price of a locomotive until the very end of the video. That's a little trick I do to try to get people to watch the entire video. Of course, it doesn't always work, but I want to talk about the price now because it's actually a pretty good deal. The retail price for the Camelback in the catalog was right at $650, $649.99, which is yeah, it's a pretty good deal for a die-cast metal steam locomotive with a smokestack and the whistle steam smoke effect. I mean, that's really not bad at all. Now, of course, anytime I say something like that, someone's going to chime in and say, hey, $650 is a lot of money. Yeah, I know it's a lot of money, but relatively speaking, in this day and age, considering how much high-end model trains typically cost, $650 is really not that bad. And keep in mind that that's the retail price. If you go through a good Lionel dealer, you should be able to get a little bit of a discount off that retail price. More about that later. So let's see how long the Camelback is from stem to stern. Looks like just under 17 inches. And let's go ahead and weigh it. Bring in my scales. So the Locomotive weighs 4 pounds, 9.4 ounces. The tender weighs 2 pounds, 5 ounces, and altogether we've got 6 pounds, 14.6 ounces. Not bad. When I tested the pulling power of the Camelback, it came in at 1 pound 10 ounces, which is pretty good for an engine of this size. And speaking of its size, because it's very compact, the minimum required curve needed to run this model is 0.31, which makes it very friendly to small layouts with tight curves. This model features all LED lighting. There's a fan-driven smoke unit in the smokestack, and another fan-driven smoke unit for the whistle steam smoke effect. And then on the inside, you've got legacy command, legacy rail sounds, and Bluetooth on board. And finally, let's pick this thing up and just have a nice look at it. All metal construction, most of it die-cast metal. There's the underside. Got 3 pickup rollers, traction tires on this set of drivers. You can see there's a crew figure in the cab, and there's one on the other side as well. Where are the control switches? Here they are. So we've got the Bluetooth on-off switch right here, the run program switch here, and then on the other side we've got 2 more switches. There's the smoke unit on-off switch and the whistle smoke on-off switch. If you look right here, there's the hole for the whistle steam smoke effect. There's a look at the firebox. And check out the tender too. Pretty standard tender. Not as fancy as the Locomotive, but all metal. Has a nice weight to it. Got a backup light. There's the speaker for the sound system. And then right there is the sensor for the Lionel LCS sensor track, if you choose to use one. And then we've got 2 pickup rollers. We got real coal up here. And by the way, when I say real coal, I mean real coal. These are little bits of real coal. It looks great. Of course, now I've got fingerprints all over it, so I'm going to have to clean it up before we run it. Alright, now it's fun time.
Dispatcher here. Start her up. Stand by for track orders. Over.
Yes, sir. We'll fire her up. Out. Dispatcher. Going to sign the register book. Out.
All right, there you have it, the Lionel Camelback. It looks great, it runs great, it sounds great. What's not to like? As I said, the retail price on this is right at $650, although if you go through a good Lionel dealer, you should be able to get a little bit of a discount off that retail price. And as always, if you're looking for a good Lionel dealer, try my favorite train store, which is Legacy Station. You can find them on the web at legacystation.com or give them a call at 770-339-7780. If you'd like to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. Patreon supporters get all sorts of perks and benefits, and you can read about those benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters. Your support means the world, not only to me, but to the future of this channel. And finally, if you'd like to buy an Eric's Trains t-shirt or anything else I might be selling, check out the Eric's Trains online store at ericstrains.com/store. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 4.